As I moved closer, fear began to enter my soul. Every bone in my body began to shake, nearly dropping me. The ground around me quivered with each step I took. The earth in places oozed dark fluid which smelled of old lost things. The creature's head bobbed on its neck as its gaze turned towards the wounded but ever persistent canine. As its eyes like liquid pools stared at Susie, an unspeakable event began to happen. Even now, after witnessing it for myself, I wonder if in my mind, so used to logical reason, closed itself off so that parts of me which relied on reality could escape, leaving it only open to the absurd. My moments seemed reduced to a crippled crawl. I saw Susie collapse, shaking violently. The creature's fleshy pseudopod had withdrawn from her face, leaving hideously scarred bloody tissue. Susie's head fell backward, as it was torn in half in her jaw. Her blood was everywhere. Her body now went into shaking spasms as a hole in her neck about the size of a small fist opened. The dog's red-stained fur began to move in a circular motion toward the hole, like liquid life flowing to a bloody drain. The hide lost all its texture, while her head peeled back, revealing muscle and sinew, making its journey towards the void. She began to fold in on herself, flesh creasing, shrinking, and gelatinizing. I could do nothing to aid her, as her voice screamed out in final agony of her life, as if her body tragically slipped away from me, now into only a memory. I experienced outrage on the verge of naked oblivion. Moving with the purpose that only vengeance could create, I focused all my seething fury on this creature. The thing was staring at the spot of blasphemy, the area where my life suddenly had left its meaning in the vacuum of loss. Although still encumbered with the strange effect of the earth and air, I made my way within a few feet of the being. Soon it too would know loss, and I would envy its forced flight into the next world. Its melon-like head spun around to face me, its elastic features pinched in an expression indiscernible to me. Whatever the look and its meaning, I hated it. I flew at it, spinning the distance in a single leap, surprising both the creature and myself. Reality, a thing of rigid substance, seemed to bend at the point of breaking as I lunged at it. The impact was less than I expected due to the change in the air, which seemed to resist all forward inertia. The earth beneath my feet had the consistency of a dried sponge, allowing me to regain my balance quickly. Using my makeshift club, with lightning speed and with power fueled by fury, I delivered a lethal blow to the head, sending bone fluid flying. It screamed in pain, and so did I, but only in triumph. The air smelled of ozone. I could feel the electric charge of the atmosphere as it fell to the ground. A sound which was like a sack filled with raw meat hitting the floor. The thoughts of the moment, though tragic, were lost in the emotional storm which seemed as though it would overtake me. The substance of life, now torn from the quivering layers of my slipping mind, sent me into some kind of strange calm. All around me, the earth, my home, a place integral to my stability, fell from grace with a resounding crash, leaving me adrift in another world. Up until now, I felt that I understood the essentials of life. How naive! For the earth has secrets of her own, and to stumble onto them is beyond any ramification we can afford. I reached up to wipe the sweat from my brow, a simple action which seemed to defy the moment. I realized that heaven had been rendered helpless, and hell exonerated in the form of a living corruption. The creature's body lay silent now. On the ground, its face, puckered and blue, its eyes, bulging orbs, glossy and wet, now closed. I moved carefully towards it, and as I did so, I was consumed and overtaken with crippling nausea, dropping me to a kneeling position just opposite its battered skull. I was torn between colliding emotions. How bewildered I felt, for I had no idea what I may have just killed. I was frozen in place, as if waiting for someone to rescue me from somewhere in hell, but no one was coming. I tried to stand, but it was like balancing on the bow of a ship caught in one of Mother Nature's more indelicate moments. All around me was quiet. Trees whose whisper could normally be heard were now still and silent. Something had taken the wind and put it in a place from which it could never again return. It was some time before I had the ability and the desire to stand. The earth again felt real, hard and slightly moist. The air, too, carried with it a normal aroma, almost fresh, and having none of the properties that created resistance to my movements. In the end, however, all was not right, for nature's voice was gone. No birds, insects, or any other animal indigenous to this place made themselves known. All sound was frozen. I looked back at the body of the unknown thing, attempting to replace the chaos with some form of truth, but truth comes with a price, and I began to weep uncontrollably. What had I done? Where was Susie? I began, through sobs, to call her name. Susie, come here, girl. Nothing, of course. She's dead. Easy enough to comprehend. A little blue man had her sucked into a hole. No, I said. I will not slip. I felt my mind giving, slowly slipping towards the edge. For some time, unknown to me, I just stood there rigid. My eyes now burned, the tears long since used to extinction. I am not going to slip, I repeated out loud to myself, trying hard now to focus. I will keep from falling. Staggering, I grab onto a tree, tearing my shirt, a mad attempt at keeping myself from losing my balance. I now found it hard to breathe, most of my energy gone. I will not fall. Thinking now, I know something happened to me and everything around me, affecting the very balance of creation, or possibly just my mind. The sun now mysteriously hidden. I was confused and physically spent. I began, slowly, to ground myself in the moment, using the land around me to help focus my efforts. Then, almost a sound, but very subtle. Was it there at all? Shifting my weight from a tree, I moved towards the being. Surely it wasn't coming from him. It wasn't, but it was there all the same. A slight liquescent hum, elusive, a soft touch grazing the flesh of my arm, giving me goosebumps. Realization. I am not alone. Cocking my head, I listened. The sound drifted on a low, lazy breeze. The wind was struggling to return. Looking around me, I began to move in shifting angles, hoping for a clue as to its location. I knelt down and touched the ground. No vibration. Standing, I looked up but could see nothing. The absence of any natural sound left me with an uneasy feeling. I made my way back through the brush as if somehow searching for an answer. Walking toward a grove of trees, slowly looking in all directions as I did so. I hoped to see something that would give me a clue as to where the sound was coming from. Could it be possibly another hiker? But there was no one to be seen. I noticed that the air around a tree seemed to move. Staring a long time in the direction of the anomaly, I began to notice that I could almost touch the sound. It had a physical quality to it. I am not ready for this. I backed away. Turning as I did so, I began to run. I moved over the rocky terrain, moving cautiously to sidestep bushes and mossy stone. Sometimes, though it was dangerous, I would look back, heedless of the rocks and trees. To hell with it, I thought. Nothing happened that couldn't be explained. Panting now, I kept moving. My breath came in hard gasps of burning air. A bear! That must have been what it really happened. It's the only thing that makes sense. I stumbled but didn't fall. Damn it, that's not what happened.